Alright, wanted to do a video here on AMD. So this is Advanced Micro Devices. Currently starting out here on the weekly charts. This is going to be, every candlestick is 1 week's worth of trading. And over these past few weeks here, ever since we hit our highs up around 50 to 53 bucks a share, we've seen a little bit of choppiness, and that's, kind of in part, due to the volatility that we're seeing in the global markets, and it's kind of leading to pullbacks in other areas. But we rebounded towards the middle and end of last week, and you kind of see that in a lot of these tech stocks. So, to see AMD push back through this week, that was a good sign as we were testing this 9-day moving average. But then we showed a nice strong close to the week and looking like we're going to hold that 9-day moving average. Now moving into the daily time frame, this is where we're going to start to see where our resistance is here on AMD. You can see we had our breakdown right before earnings from our high around 53 bucks. And then we were just kind of a little bit choppy, but we've struggled to get back above these low 50s, so 50 and some change. We'll call it like 50-30, 50-20, 50-30. We've struggled to get back above there since we've broken down. You can see one day we closed a little bit above. Last week on Wednesday, we hit it and then broke down, and then on Friday we tapped it, and then we sold off towards the end of the day. But that is really what we're going to want to see us push through, is that $50 price point. You can see right now we're just about a quarter below. But overall, we're looking decent. We're still moving the right way. We haven't seen any sort of technical breakdowns. The 4-hour chart looks as if we could push down a little bit more, maybe bounce off these moving averages as they begin to converge, but then start to swing this price higher. What I'm really looking for is a higher low and then some momentum and volume to swing in and push us through these low 50s. When we close above these low 50 marks, I think that will be a good signal that we are going to continue this upward trend and push towards these highs up here, towards $53 a share. But what I'd really be looking at moving into Monday and Tuesday this week is, what do we do come these morning trading hours when we're seeing the heavier volume? Are people really just dumping this now that we've tapped off of these low 50 levels a couple times? Are they tired of it? Are they a little bit fearful that this might break down through these moving averages? Or if we do dip down here, down by these lows that we saw on Friday, are buyers willing to come in and buy it up? And in that situation, you might want to take on a position down at these levels, holding a relatively tight stop if we start to break down, potentially into the low 48s or even down below 48. At that point, we would be setting a lower high and lower lows, and that would just kind of be a breakdown of this overall technical pattern. But at the moment, we still hold this nice little upward trend. We set in some lows down here around 46.50 down to the 46 mark. I think that is a nice solid support. So if there was a breakdown and you wanted to wait and see if there was a bounce here, take on a small position size here based off this previous resistance, that might not be a bad idea. But as far as right now, I don't know if I necessarily want to hop in a position this close to the $50 mark. Maybe wait to see it retrace down closer to the $49 price point, and then maybe take on a position to see if we can at least come back and hit 50. And if we hit 50 with enough momentum and enough buyers in place, break through, and at that point we could be seeing levels up here around 51.50. And then if you're willing to hold it further, and you're already talking about a 5% gain, maybe you want to take a little bit off the table, but then you might see us up here towards those highs around $53 a share. And this kind of holds true moving on into the hourly. You can kind of see these levels that I'm talking about as far as the lower lows go. So here we would be down near the low 49s. You can see where we had our low early Friday, and how we had set a higher low from Thursday when we had our morning lows closed down here around 48. Friday, you can see we had them up here around 48.75. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, is if we come down and we make another higher low right in here in the low 49s. If it breaks down, you can have a stop down here to get out of the trade, but otherwise you can try and ride this thing up. It'd be about a 2.5% gain up to these low 50s, and if we were to break through, that's just icing on the cake. But you'd still want to look at it pretty closely as the trade develops, as well as looking at the overall market and the volatility included there. As far as I was asked specifically by a buddy of mine to look at the AMD February 20th 50 call, so I'm going to go ahead and put that side by side with the AMD chart, and we can just kind of get an overall idea of a level that would coincide with this $49 price point. So now here with the options, we're going to have a little bit of decay, so you're not going to see this same upward pattern that we've been seeing over the past week on the option calls. We'll move it into the same time frame with the hourly, so you can kind of see what we're looking at here. We had our big decline, and then we started to trade back up. Friday, again, we started to see that sell off when we hit that $50 price point. So we can kind of mark the 175 price here on these option calls for AMD hitting the $50 price point by February 22nd as being that upper bound. Again, this is always changing because of the theta decay here on these calls. But I really do think that 175 point, you can see we've cracked above it a couple times just for a brief period of time. And then the price seems to shoot back down. But what I would really be looking at here on this specific contract would be somewhere down here in the low ones. Specifically, I'd be shooting for around 110 maybe. But again, this is something that you would want to verify when the market is open. How are we trading? What is the trend? How is the global volatility? Has any news come out here on AMD, positive or negative, factual or maybe a little bit of a lie? Just things of that nature. I know that's a lot, and if you're going to be in it for a little bit of a shorter period of time, then maybe you don't necessarily go into that much detail. But just looking at this chart on the hourly here for the AMD call, I would want to be down here somewhere around 1.1. I think that would coincide with our $49 price point. As you can see, our Thursday low is down here around 90 cents per contract, and that was down here around the low 48s. So if we were to dip down towards, say, the low 49s, I think that might correlate pretty well down here around 1. But again, you kind of just want to follow it as it goes and pick a spot where you think it's going to be good, and then trade to your plan. If this were to break to the upside, I think, again, you could be looking from the low ones up here towards maybe 170 or 175, so it'd be about 65 cents per contract. If we were to break through, I think that this thing could go through the $2 price point and up here maybe towards sub or a little bit south of 250 per contract. So that'd be about it'd be about 100% gain here on these contracts. But you gotta have good risk reward. This thing could easily dip down towards, say, 85, and you could be out, say, 33%, and then it sees a swing to the upside. So you really just kind of got to get a feel for the market. If we break this little bit of a downward trend right here, that might show signs that we're going to retrace back lower, maybe towards this $46 price point. You'll just kind of have to play it as the day goes on. But again, you want to have a plan where you're going to get in, where you're going to get out, where's your profit taking. That's really the main goal that you need to have to take some of that emotion out of the trade. So hopefully this video helped and gave a little bit of insight. If you enjoyed the video, you can leave a like or leave a comment, tell me how I can do better moving forward. But again, I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.